Hey guys, what is up? So today I want to talk about something that I think is going to be super useful if you are thinking about buying an iPhone 15 in late 2025, almost 2026, or if you're currently using one and wondering if you should keep it, or maybe you're sitting there with an iPhone 11 or 12 looking at the prices drop and you're a bit confused about whether this thing is actually still a good buy. Now, just to be transparent with you guys, I've been holding on to this blue iPhone 15 for about a year now. I started using it back in October 2024, and honestly, it's kind of an interesting story because this isn't my main daily driver phone. It's actually my backup unit. It mostly sits right here on my desk or it lives in my bag when I'm traveling. I use it for testing new features, running beta programs, the risky stuff, and sometimes just for gaming when my main phone is on the charger. But because I use it in this specific way, I feel like I have a really clear perspective on it. I'm not burnt out on it. I see it for what it is. And with the latest iOS 26 update running on this thing, I have some thoughts. So in this video, we're going to cover everything, the design, the performance. I actually ran some fresh benchmarks for you guys, the battery life, the camera, and of course the software and that whole Apple Intelligence situation. Let's get into it. Before we start reviewing the current experience, let's just quickly bridge back to when this phone first came out. Do you remember the hype? This was a huge turning point for the regular iPhone. It was the first time the base model got the dynamic island, which finally killed the notch. It was the moment Apple finally gave us USB-C so we could stop hunting for lightning cables. And we got that 48 megapixel main camera, which was a massive jump from the 12 megapixel sensors we had for years. Back then, it felt like the line between the Pro and the regular phone got really blurry. And now, looking at it 3 years later, does that still hold up? Let's start with the design. My unit here is the blue one. It's this really pale, icy blue. And one thing I really appreciate and I think is underrated is the contoured edges. If you're coming from an iPhone 12 or 13, you know those phones were sharp. They kind of dug into your hand. This phone, it's soft. The glass on the back has this matte finish that is just awesome at hiding fingerprints. Since this phone sits on my desk a lot, I'm constantly grabbing it, moving it, and it always looks clean. Now the display, it's a 6.1 inch OLED. It's bright, it hits like 2000 nits outdoors, so sunlight is no issue. But we have to address the big catch. The refresh rate, it is still 60 Hz. If you are used to a 120 Hz ProMotion screen, you will notice it. Scrolling text has that little bit of choppiness. But humble opinion here, if you're upgrading from an iPhone 11 or 12, you literally won't care. It's gonna look fantastic to you. It's sharp, the colors are punchy, and the dynamic island makes the UI feel so much more alive compared to the old notch. Okay, let's talk performance. This is where I think the iPhone 15 is secretly a beast. It's running the A16 Bionic chip. I did some fresh testing just for this video using Geekbench 6, and here's what I got. The numbers are still really solid. I'm getting a single core score of 2626, and for multi-core it hit 6538. Then I ran the GPU metal test, basically the graphics performance, and that came in at 22,729. So yeah, even on paper, this chip isn't showing its age at all. Those numbers are still really solid in 2026. My day-to-day experience is pretty good. Apps open quick, swiping between them is smooth, it doesn't feel old at all. And I want to tell you guys something important here. This phone has 6 gigabytes of RAM. When I re-review older base models like the iPhone 12 or 13, those only had 4 gigabytes. And nowadays, with apps getting heavier, I keep seeing apps reloading in the background on those older phones. It's annoying. But with the 6 gigabytes on this iPhone 15, the RAM management is much more good. It's pretty decent. I can multitask, leave a game, check a text, come back, and it's still there. That extra RAM is what's going to keep this phone running smooth for another 2 or 3 years easily. Speaking of gaming, I do game on this phone. Since it's my backup, I use it to save battery on my main device. For high demanding games, it is still very playable. The graphics look great, thanks to that GPU score we saw earlier. But I gotta be honest, it does get pretty warm. It's not overheating or shutting down, but because it's a smaller phone and it doesn't have the crazy cooling systems of the newer Pro models, you feel the heat on the back near the camera. It's not that noticeable if you have a case on, but if you run it naked like I do sometimes, yeah, you'll feel it. Now let's talk about the software. This is running the latest iOS 26, and guys, in my experience, this is a really great update. You've probably heard about the new liquid glass design language, right? It's not just hype, it's really a game changer on how the user interface looks. The buttons have this depth, the animations are buttery smooth. It makes older iOS versions, let's say iOS 18, look flat and old. I really appreciate how Apple made a huge upgrade on this iOS 26. It just feels modern. I will say though, when I first updated for like the first day or two, I noticed the temperature was somehow more warm here, but that's an experience that just happens early on. I think the phone is just re-indexing system files and personal data to settle it. After a couple of days, it went back to normal. So if you update and it gets warm, don't panic, it settles down. Battery life. This is where my usage is a bit unique. So my battery health is currently at 99% with a cycle count of 211. Again, I've had this since October 2024, so over a year. Because it sits on my desk a lot and isn't my daily driver, the battery has held up amazingly well. But when I do use it for a full day of review testing or gaming, the drain is predictable. I don't notice some huge improvement over the iPhone 13 or 14. It's pretty much the same. It'll get you through a day, but if you're gaming heavily, you're gonna need a charger by evening. It's decent, just not groundbreaking. Quickly on the camera, you get that 48 megapixel main sensor. The huge plus point here is the 2x zoom. It crops into the sensor to give you a lossless zoom. I use this all the time for portraits or product shots. It's so much better than the digital zoom on the older phones. Video quality, it's an iPhone. It's stable. The colors are great, and for 99% of people, this is all the camera you need. Okay, let's address the big question. Apple Intelligence, does this phone support it? The answer is no. The iPhone 15 runs the A16 chip, and Apple Intelligence requires the A17 Pro or M series chips with 8 GB of RAM. But tell that honestly, for me, it's not a huge deal. You know, Apple Intelligence by now is still kind of early, like beta feeling. It's cool, but it's not life-changing yet. I usually use alternatives that are more powerful anyway, like Gemini or ChatGPT. I just have the apps on my home screen. So if you're worried about missing out on AI, don't be. You can still use AI on this phone, it's just not baked into the settings. So, something needs consideration for this iPhone or downside. Mainly it's that 60Hz screen, and the charging speeds are still just okay compared to some crazy fast Android phones. And yeah, the USB-C port is great for compatibility, but remember it's only USB 2.0 speed, so data transfer is slow if you use a cable. My thought for you that want to buy one of these iPhones, for me, the iPhone 15 is a great buy with valuable price to value. Especially now with the price drops in the refurbished market. You're getting a modern design USB-C, dynamic island, and a 48 megapixel camera for a fraction of the launch price. If you're using an iPhone 11, 12, or even a base 13, this is a fantastic upgrade. If you're currently using the 15, keep it. It's running iOS 26 beautifully. Anyway, that's my humble take on the iPhone 15 long term. Let me know in the comments if you're still rocking one. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.